Today I'm going to try to draw this house on the corner in Tallinn, Estonia. And while I'd really love to get into the whats and whys of this place, I think today is going to have to be about the previous 24 hours, as well as this hilarious failure of a drawing. I really wanted to make this first drawing here in Estonia a good one because I love it here and I'm glad to be back. But yeah, whatever. And I'll talk more about Tallinn maybe tomorrow. For now, if you'll indulge me, I'd like to rant a little bit about my experience getting here. So the flight from Krakow to Tallinn is pretty simple. If you don't know, Estonia is nearly a straight shot directly north up there on the Baltic Sea. We had to connect in Helsinki, which sits just across the Gulf of Finland, but it would be a short layover, and the flight from Helsinki to Tallinn is like 20 minutes or something, so really not an issue. Our flight from Krakow to Helsinki was really straightforward, even easy. When we landed, we immediately made our way to the gate and waited the hour or so until boarding. Well, at the end of the hour, the estimated boarding time was pushed another 40 minutes. Not ideal, but not the end of the world. Again, from here, it's a very short flight to Tallinn, so as annoying as stuff like that can be, put into this perspective, it's fine, whatever. Everybody deals with stuff like this, so no problem. The 40 minutes go by, and then so do another. There's no information. We're all just waiting there at the gate. Eventually, someone finally makes their way to the desk and announces they'll soon be boarding. The process goes by pretty quick from here. Everyone gets through, boards the bus that will take us to our small plane, and we wait there standing for maybe 10 to 15 minutes. The bus is off, the doors are open, we are not going anywhere. When the driver eventually does turn the bus on and closes the door, we sit for another 5 to 10 minutes, and then he shuts it off again and reopens the doors. From the intercom, we hear the same gate agent announce that the plane is experiencing technical difficulties, another thing we've all probably dealt with in the past. A din of frustrated sighs fills the bus, and we all walk back to the gate. Another 10 minutes pass. Everyone is understandably, antsy and aggravated. But again, soon enough, we'll be at our final destination. It's not that big of a deal. We've been through this kind of thing a million times. We travel constantly, so, we're used to it. And while, yes, it's remarkably annoying when it happens, there's not really anything to be done. So yeah, another 10 minutes and the plane is apparently fixed. So like cattle, we're all herded back to the bus, which to our surprise starts right up and takes us away. The boarding process went off without a hitch. I sank into my seat, put my headphones in, and immediately passed out. When we were getting ready to land, I noticed the flight was more than twice as long as it should have been. But I figured with time on the tarmac, or I don't know, maybe being stuck in a holding pattern or something, that would account for that. So we deplane, walk our way inside, and for some reason, there's a line to get through the gate. I'm thinking that's odd. We should be flying through at this point. So while I wait, I pull out my phone just to check the price of Bolt, which is like an Uber here. For some reason, my phone says it's connected to the Helsinki airport Wi-Fi still. Obviously, it's just stuck, like the network screen hasn't refreshed or something. So I turn it off and on, again and again. And that's strange. It keeps telling me that it's connecting to Helsinki. So I see if the Wi-Fi is working, which it absolutely should not be in this case, but it is. So I ball up all the sheer dread that's building up in my gut and open Google Maps to find out that we are, in fact, at the Helsinki airport. How is that possible? I'm sure you're thinking, why were we in the air for so long? What is happening? At this point, the line has moved just enough for me to see that what we're all waiting for is just every passenger asking the gate agent the exact same question, one after another. We're back at the Helsinki airport, and now we have to go to the transfer service desk to, quote, figure it out, unquote. So we walk back through the airport, past all the same little shops and restaurants we passed like 3 stupid hours ago, making our way to the aforementioned transfer desk. There's a woman making her way through the line, offering assistance. She's very kind. And when she got to us, we learned that we were automatically booked onto the next flight to Tallinn. Some people will have to stay overnight, unfortunately, get a hotel. But we are lucky enough to get the last flight of the day. I ask when that is. She says 10 minutes after midnight. I say inside my head, hey, that's tomorrow. But I say out of my stupid mouth, oh, well, that's a long time from now. So we talk through our options with this woman. There's a popular ferry route from Helsinki to Tallinn, which I've been on a few times. It's a nice and easy ride, so that sounds like a reasonable solution. But she says they are not going to cover the cost of getting there or the cost of the ferry itself, and we won't be reimbursed for any food or anything like that, which I guess is understandable because they're an airline, but it's pretty aggravating. But if we do that, we'll have to leave the secure part of the airport to go to arrivals and then ask them to pull our checked baggage, which she says could take 15 minutes or 5 hours. The next ferry is at 6:30. It's already almost 4. We can take the ferry anyway, she says, without our bags, and then contact the airline to get them back. How about hell no? The other option is to wait in the airport for the next 8 hours. Just so you can follow along at home, we left our apartment in Krakow at 5 a.m. I ask if we can get a food voucher, and she says, of course, it's 17 euros. Better than nothing, I guess. So we take a deep breath, print our new boarding passes, and prepare for a work day's worth of wasted time. The first thing we do is scout out the food options. And hey, literally every meal starts at 17 euros and 50 cents. Isn't that nice? Love that. Anyway, so we pass 8 hours in an airport exactly as you'd expect, morale sinking lower by the second. And when we eventually think to check our upcoming flight on the board, it's pushed to 1 a.m. Kill me now. Anyway, we eventually do get on the plane. It does take us to Tallinn, and by the end of it all, by the end of what should have been 5 hours of plane and airport time combined, we ended the day just over 18 hours. Needless to say, today was a rough one. And would you have guessed that it affects the creative process? I bet you would. It does. So let's talk about that. This reference, thanks to a stupid comment I made, I'm very stupid today, that I made in the bicycle video, if you remember that. If you don't, please go watch it, was all about the dappled light. I knew it was going to be difficult, but I wanted to see what I could do with it. I haven't watched anyone draw anything like this. I haven't attempted it myself. I just jumped in and hoped for the best. And honestly, I got what I deserved. This was incredibly difficult. I can't even tell you. Differentiating between the real foliage and the shadow of that foliage is hard enough on its own, but compound that with, my phone suddenly, unexpectedly stopping the video a third of the way through due to there not being enough storage, and you have a recipe for disaster. Luckily, I kept my cool and tried to not move at all while my wife deleted downloaded albums from my Apple Music library because it was just the easiest thing to carelessly delete without any input from me. So if you noticed a bit of like a jarring cut in the first third, that's the reason. Cool, very cool. Putting all of that nonsense aside, finally, I actually thought this drawing started out okay. I was trying my best to be smart about the order of operations, like the fence versus the tree versus the building. Also, my proportions seemed to be headed in the right direction, and the foliage, while far from perfect, I think I was getting there. It wasn't until the phone thing which lasted probably 5 minutes, that things began to slide downhill. And that included my patience. By the end of this one, my wife and I laughed out loud at the outcome, something that's not happened even once before. Even though some of the other drawings are technically worse, none of them came out of such ridiculousness and resulted in such a surrender as this one. If anything, this started as an exercise in optimism, but concluded in futility. I'll surely attempt something like this again, but I'll need to seek out some education first and probably get a good night's sleep beforehand. Yeah, you already know how I feel about it. I don't need to elaborate anymore. Just look at it. So yeah, let me know in the comments how much you love it or some of your travel-related horror stories. I'd love to hear those. Actually, please don't tell me what you think of the drawing. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, so maybe one day I won't need to rely on a 17-euro voucher to get me through the day. Okay, enough of that. Tomorrow will be much better. I can feel it. I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this one, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.